go live button. Fun facts if you ever do this. Nobody's there yet. Good morning, good morning. Is everybody up and going this morning? Day 18 of Lent. Hope you guys are doing great, getting into your study, growing closer to God, having an awesome lead up to our beautiful Easter series. Good morning, good morning. We've got a good passage today, a nice long one. We're going to be in Matthew. Good morning, hi Ginger, Angel, Jane. You guys are up and at 'em this morning. Awesome to see you back again. Good morning, Rebecca. There's Ms. Pastor Tammy. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Hey, just a reminder, when you're on Facebook, click the little link to join the restream so we can see your face with your comments. It's kind of awesome to see your beautiful pictures. Okay, I'm going to get started because it's a lot of verses today and I'm chatty, so here we go. So we're going to dive into Matthew 13, 1 through 23. Yes, that sounds like a lot. I'll try not to read too fast. And this is the parables where he is talking about sowing seeds, right? The parable, and which is basically a story, right? Yeah. What is a parable? It's a story. All right, so we're going to start in Matthew chapter 13, verse 1. Okay. The same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Large crowds gathered around him, so he got into a boat and sat down. And while the people stood on the shore, then Jesus used stories to teach them about many things. He said, "A farmer went out to plant his seed, and while he was planting, some seed fell by the road, and the birds came and ate it all up. Some seed fell on rocky ground, where there wasn't much dirt, and that seed grew very fast because the ground was not deep. But when the sun rose, the plants dried up because they did not have deep roots. Some other seed fell among the thorny weeds, which grew and choked out the good plants. And still other seed fell on ground where it grew and produced a crop. Some plants made 100 times more, some 60 times more, and some made 30 times more. Let those with ears use them and listen." It almost sounds like he's rebuking there, right? Like, are you listening? Do you get it? Are you listening? But then he goes on. The followers came to Jesus and asked, "Why do you use stories to teach people?" And Jesus answered, "You have been chosen to know the secrets about the kingdom of heaven, but others cannot know these secrets. Those who have understanding will be given more, and they will have all they need. But those who do not have understanding, even what they have will be taken away from them. This is why I use stories to teach the people. They see, but they don't really see. They hear, but they don't really hear or understand. So they show that the things Isaiah said about them are true." And what Isaiah says is, "You will listen and listen, but you will not understand. You will look and look, but you will not learn. For the minds of these people have become stubborn. They do not hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might really understand what they see with their eyes and hear with their ears. They might really understand in their minds and come back to me and be healed." That's Isaiah 6, 9, and 10. "But you," he continues in Matthew 16, "are blessed because you see with your eyes and hear with your ears. I tell you the truth, many prophets and good people want to see the things that you now see, but they did not see them. And they wanted to hear the things that you now hear, but they did not hear them." Okay, that's a lot, and we're still on 17. So basically, he's told this story. He's talked about the seeds and where they fell in different ways, and the disciples are like, "Hey, super cool, but can you let us know why? Why are you doing these stories? What's the deal?" And then he goes even more cryptic, like, "Yeah, because they have eyes, but they're not seeing. They have ears, but they're not hearing." So, but that's okay, because in this next section, my little Bible, Jesus explains the seed story. So don't worry, guys, it's coming. All right, so we're now in 18. So listen to the meaning of that story about the farmer. "What is the seed that fell by the road? That seed is like the person who hears the message about the kingdom but does not understand it. The evil one comes and takes away what was planted in that person's head. So just like the birds, the seeds, they're gone immediately. They never even have a chance to really take root because they're gone so quickly. We're so distracted. If you're a person, you're distracted, right? It's gone away so quickly. And what is the seed that fell on the rocky ground? That seed is like the person who hears the teaching and quickly accepts it with joy. But he does not let the teaching go deep into his life, so he keeps it only a short time. And when trouble or persecution comes because of the teaching he accepted, he quickly gives up. And what of the seed that fell among the thorny weeds? That seed is like the person who hears the teaching but lets worries about this life and the temptation of wealth stop that teaching from growing. So the teaching does not produce fruit in that person's life. But what of the seed that fell on the good ground? That seed is like the person who hears the teaching and understands it. That person grows and produces fruit, sometimes 100 times more, sometimes 60 times more, and sometimes 30 times more. So we're the soil. We're the soil. He's the seed. However you want to look at that, you're the seeds. I love that example. I like visuals, so I like parables. I'm glad Jesus taught us that way because I love those visuals of what that looks like. And I think if we're honest, we've probably been all those different kinds of soils at different points in our life. I know I have. The first one is, you never get a chance. Whatever it is, the world, the distraction, you don't want to hear God. You just never get a chance. The seeds are gone so fast, there's no chance for them to go. And then I think of the shallow, the rocky soil. So can everyone admit that they've probably been that person? And that's not to say that an emotional response is not okay. I definitely have emotional response to worship or a beautiful message. I've been moved to tears. I've been moved to anger, to passion, to ignite something new. All those things, emotional is part of it, but it can't stop there. That's what this is telling us. When it stops there, when it's only the emotion, and then something really hard comes, and your faith is tested, and you need to feel comfort and strength, and you need to be able to draw close to God because you got a terrible diagnosis, or you lost someone you love, or gosh, it's just a really bad day. It doesn't feel like you belong somewhere. Any of those things that come that make life difficult and hard, if all you have is an emotional response to fall back on, that's not a lot to hold on to. And you may not end up going to God the way you could. And then I think one of the saddest ones in this is that next one where he talks about where it goes and there's soil, but there's so many thorns and there's so many weeds. Because I think of times in my life when I've been bitter or angry about something, and even so angry that I've let the good stuff be choked out. I've put myself in a position where even when I know God is there and I can feel that my heart is divided because I know there is goodness and I know there's freedom over here, but whatever that is that I'm holding on to that I haven't given to God or I haven't let go of, it's just choking out all the good stuff. To me, that's the saddest one because you know, and you're right there and you can taste the freedom, but you just can't let yourself have it because of whatever is choking it out, whether it's anger, bitterness, sadness, whatever that is. You just can't let it go. And then he talks about that beautiful, fertile soil where we're open. When we're open and we get those seeds and we know, oh my goodness, this is going to be a good harvest, right? Yeah, I know, I went farmer on you. This is going to be good. When you are growing towards it, when you are helping those seeds grow, when you're doing things like we're doing now, you're connecting with devotionals, you're in the Word, you're talking to other believers or non-believers, you're just talking about your Jesus, you're in that freedom and you know, and when it talks about the fruit, That's talking about what we've been talking about this whole time, the closeness that comes from fully relying on God, the closeness that gets from those deep, meaningful times where you're in the Word and it becomes so real, becomes flesh to you because you are so close and so in tune that you know exactly where God is leading you. And if you don't, you still trust it. That's what that fertileness is, and that's the fruits that he sees. The people that you bring, that's the stuff that draws you to people when you see that in them, when they are living in that faith, and it's so fertile, and it's so beautiful, and we can be close to God. And I think that wherever you are, whether you feel like the seeds just haven't landed, you don't get it, or they're being choked out by something that you just are having a really hard time letting go of. Or maybe you're in that great place. Wherever it is, wherever you are, wherever your crops are right now, you have a chance to do more or to do different. That's the beautiful thing of that freedom that we talk about having in Jesus, is that you still have a chance to do different. If you want to know more, go learn more. If you need to develop your relationship, develop it. If you need to be one who is encouraging others to develop theirs, go do that. Be open to God as we continue through this, and there is no telling, honestly, no telling, none of us can know where God will take you. If you had told me 20 years ago I would be doing this, I wouldn't have believed you. And the journey can be so beautiful if you get rid of that thorny part and go deeper and water and nourish those seeds that God has planted. I just think you will be so surprised at the absolute joy you can live in. So wherever you are, my prayer for you today, and I'll pray now, is that wherever you are, you can get to where you want to be with Jesus. Does that make sense? I don't know. I said it anyway, so whether it makes sense. All right, let's pray together, guys. God, thank you so much for this day, for your stories, for the words that you use to reach so many different personalities and journeys. And God, just the overwhelmness that you hold us all in your hand, and each of our stories is your story, God, is just such a beautiful thing to me. Thank you for fighting for those hearts who have those thorny weeds choking out, God. Just thank you for fighting for us. Thank you for continuing to place people and circumstances in our lives that lead us to a deeper understanding, God. And thank you most for the grace that you show when we go back and between these soils, when through our life changes and circumstances, God, that you just continue to give us grace and love and just never stop pursuing. Thank you so much. And I ask, God, for those that are struggling today, that they'll just let that guard down, that they'll open that door, that they'll answer that pursuit of you, and just start to feel what it can mean to truly live with you, Jesus, by our side, just continuing to lead us through this life and lead us into the purpose you have put into us. I pray that for all those listening today, and I pray that for everyone who'll listen in the future. Ask all these things in your name, and everybody in their cars and their hotels and their houses and wherever they are says, amen. All right, guys, have a great day. See you tomorrow.